Good afternoon. It is a little after 12:40. I'm Ben Shannon, and this is election 2023, the force in your community. As it stands at the moment, we are still awaiting to hear what the latest is in Bury because the counting has now started after verification. So I can't give any analysis as yet as to what is happening in Bury at the moment until we start to get the results. I have spoken to people who are standing or are with candidates, and I have heard that turnout, excuse me, in one of the wards is actually lower than what it was in 2022 last year in the all-out elections. And I'm also hearing that it is close in one of the wards as well, which is understandable with the way the politics is in general as it stands at the moment. So as soon as we start to get results from Berry and those results start to come through and we know exactly what's going on, that is when we can then start to look at the board and see exactly how things are shaping. But as it stands, I am still keeping with that prediction that Labour will have a majority of 13, they'll have 32 seats. Radcliffe first will have all 9 seats in Radcliffe, becoming the opposition party. The Conservatives will be down to 7, the 2 independent councillors, excuse me, and Steve Wright will hold on to Holyrood for the Liberal Democrats. Just looking away from Bury and from Greater Manchester for the moment, Burnley remains under no overall control as Labour holds Gateshead. The Labour Party gained 2 seats to a total of 21, just shy of the 4 it had needed for seizing control of the Lancashire Council. So Labour this is Burnley, Labour have 21, Conservative 7, the Dem 7, Green 7, and other streets. What about the 7s, isn't it, I suppose? Right, anyway, so that's how it's looking as far as Burnley. The Conservatives have lost at Welwyn Hatfield to no overall control. And the Conservative Party chair, the former Conservative Party chairman, Dr. Liam Fox, has said it's not exactly unprecedented for a party that has been in office for as long as what they have to lose seats in local elections. But that could also be argued and challenged by if somebody wants to remain in power, remain popular, then they want to continue their popularity by trying to boost things rather than be losing seats at a local election. Some are saying, though, that despite these heavy losses that the Conservatives are having, it doesn't necessarily mean to say it would be a majority government for Sir Keir Starmer at the next general election. I'm sticking by what I said last night. I think the doors will be being stomped down and being careful that these boards don't fall down again. It's not looking good for Rishi Sunak and the Conservative Party. There's no ifs or buts about that. But the thing about this, with any election, especially in a situation like this, when you're a year or 18 months away from the general election, you've got time to try and learn lessons and do something different to try and appeal to people or do something that people will like. And if that can then turn things around, it can do. If you do absolutely nothing, like a lot of politicians do on all sides, and just take for granted the electorate, then that's not going to do anybody any good at all whatsoever. I've heard quite a lot during this campaign. I've heard it before, and the people are getting fed up with the top 2 parties, Conservative and Labour, Labour and Conservative, whichever way you want to say it, fighting, and people are feeling the apathy and everything else. And don't forget of all the stuff that's happened over many, many years with I'm not talking about the pandemic and Brexit, but I mean, the expenses and various different things where people will be thinking, right, okay, let's learn from this, let's move on and try and get things exactly where they should be. So that is how things I'm believing are going to happen this afternoon in Bury, when within the next hour or two we will actually officially have updates, so we'll be able to say exactly where everything is going. So we will see. Don't forget, of course, that these are local elections, which are just one candidate here in Bury. Other councils are having all-out elections where every seat is up for grabs. Right, that is it as it stands for the moment. Hopefully, I will be back fairly soon and start to have more trickling updates. Until then, good afternoon.